Break the Board Sports. It's your boy RJ Cash. Click that like, hit subscribe. Here we are, college football playoff. Now the playoffs been really good to us. 5-0 in the college football playoff, 3-0 in straight bets, 2-0 in our teasers. Been absolutely incredible college football playoff so far. Let's see what we can get cooked up here in the quarterfinals round. Gonna hit on Miami and Ohio State New Year's Eve night down in Dallas, Texas at the Cotton Bowl. Right now, Ohio State a 9.5-point favorite, 42.5 is the total. Let's just start there. A 9.5-point spread and a 42.5 total tells you all you need to know. It's going to be a tight game here between Ohio State and Miami. Now, we had Miami against Texas A&M. They ultimately got across the finish line winning that game. Miami's defense, to do what they did against Texas A&M's offense, Texas A&M is nowhere near as good as Ohio State on the defensive side. I think Ohio State has the best defense in the country, but let's just get this down straight out. I understand Ohio State's wide receivers are phenomenal, but Julian Sayin is nowhere near. He's not in Marcel Reed's category. Like people talking about Sayin, if he had beat Indiana, be the Heisman Trophy. I just don't understand that. The kid is average at best, right? You're playing for Ohio State every time they get to a national championship, get to a playoff, talk about how great the quarterback is. Sayin has done nothing. It's been the defense, the running back, and he does have Jeremiah Smith and company on the outside that make things look really, really easy for him. But you've seen in that Indiana game where facing a really good defense, he struggled. And this Miami defense is better than that Indiana defense. So let's hop into the handicap. Whatever side you're on, hopefully I help you push you over the edge, and I'll give you my pick on this one. So the spread, 9.5, 65% of ticket count, 79% of the money is on Ohio State, 35% of ticket count, 21% of the money is on the Miami Hurricanes. Now, this is being done early on a Saturday morning, so that could change. We got like 4 days for this to conclude, come back around. The over-under 42.5. Now, the money is split dead even 50-50, but 56% of tickets to the over, 44% of tickets in this to the under. Now, Miami comes into this 11-2, 8-5 against the spread. Ohio State 12-1 straight up, 10-2-1 against the spread. On the road, Ohio State 5-0, Miami 4-1 here. Again, Miami beating Texas A&M 10-3. That was really, really huge. You got to think about Miami. Now the ACC a little down, but I can make the argument in the Big Ten. They have some good teams like Iowa's and Michigan's. Oregon's really good, right? But how good are the Big Ten? I say this all the time. It's funny. If you take the best team in the Big Ten, like Michigan when they won the national championship, Ohio when they won the national championship, they could play with SEC teams in a game or in 2 games. I always wonder, could they navigate the SEC schedule? Now, these 2 teams, 2011, 2010, obviously the Maurice Claret, we remember that, 30 and that whole thing back in the early 2000s. But 2011, Miami beat them 24-6. That was the last head-to-head matchup. When you look at Ohio State's schedule, 27-9, they ran away from Michigan there at the end, lost 13-10 against Indiana. But when I look through the rest of Ohio State, look, they beat Texas 14-7 in basically Arch Manning's first ever road start. And Texas did everything to give that game away, and Ohio State only beat them 14-7. Then you look, these are the teams Ohio State's beaten. Washington, Minnesota, who was life and death with New Mexico today, Illinois, Wisconsin, Penn State in the worst year they've had in the last 20 years, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers. Who is Ohio State beating? They beat Indiana and they beat Texas earlier in the year, right? So, and against an Indiana team, they only scored 10 points. So when I look at that, now you're going to put this game on turf with that Miami defense that's really, really tough, can really, really get after the quarterback. And they got a veteran quarterback in Carson Beck. Now, he can't run around, make things happen, but kind of like Mendoza, he can stand back there in the pocket and really fling it. Now, Miami, 29th scoring offense in college football, 32.2 points per game. Ohio State, 34.9. So about 2.7 advantage for Ohio State offensively, but defensively, they're 5th in the country. fifth best defense, giving up 13 points a game. Now, Ohio State, number one in the country, giving up 8.2 points per game. But you got to look at this. I think Miami can get to 10, right? I also think that total at 42.5, a lot of people are going to be on the over. I think if you can find a 43, I wouldn't take 42.5. I would have to get a 43 out there, but I think that's got some legs to it. Now, Miami, 5 straight wins, but 3-14 straight up their last 17 in the month of December. Now, Miami, they've played to the under 7 of their last 10, but as a dog, they've went over the total 8 of their last 10. We talked about Miami on a 5-game winning streak, but when they play teams in the Big Ten Conference, 0-6 ATS. Now, Ohio State, their record goes without saying, guys. Even though they haven't played anybody, they're still 9-1 their last 10 games as a favorite. 14-2-1 ATS their last 17 games. 16-1 straight up their last 17. However, when you look at ATS versus the ACC, might surprise you a little bit. Ohio State is just 2-5 against the spread against the ACC their last 7. They've played to the under 4 of their last 5 games. Like I said, that under 42.5 where it's setting, I would like to get some more points, obviously, but I think you really got to take a look at that. I think there's something there for it for sure. Now, Miami, they've hit the first half game total under. Your first half total, 21.5 over at FanDuel. You can get the over under for the first half. Miami's hit that first half game total under 12 of their last 14 games. If you've been following that, you're up 9.7 units, a 60% return on your investment for that. When I look at that, I think under 21.5 for the first half is a really good line for Ohio State and Miami. I really like that a lot. I'm going to lock that in play. I think it's a good way to edge here to get into it. Now, we talked about Ohio State. Obviously, the record's been good. Money line, though, obviously they're such big favorites. The ROI really doesn't cash it there for you. Now, Ohio State, we talked about them, 12-3 ATS their last 15. If you had followed that, you're up 8.7 units, a 53% return on your investment. Again, Miami, the game total under, they've hit that 4 their last 5, 2.9 units, 53% ROI. You can find it as high as 42.5. We talked about the game total under for the first half, 21.5, and we talked about how Miami 12-2 their last 14 games on that trend. You can also look at the first half under for Ohio State. They're in the same boat. They've hit that 10 of the last 15. So that first half under, both of these teams have hit it a lot, 21.5. That's going to be a play for me. I love the under 21.5 for the first half between these two teams here in the Cotton Bowl, Miami and Ohio State. So here's a couple ways. The under 21.5 for the first half, that is a play. Here's also what I did. Now, the line's 9.5. I think you're going to get a 10.5. Miami plus 10, that is the play for me. That's what I'm going to be taking. But where it's at 9.5, let's say it doesn't move, and I think it's going to get to 10. You're going to see nothing but Ohio State money. I can tell you right now, the public is not going to be betting Miami down the stretch of this thing as we get closer to game time. It's going to be all about the Ohio State Buckeyes. So you're going to get Miami plus 10. Maybe you got to lay minus 125 to get plus 10.5. I would do it. But here's what I look at. I love these 3-team 10-point teasers minus $1.20. So we're 5-0 going into the CFP. 5-0 last weekend. We called every side correctly, and we hit our 2 teasers. So had a great weekend. And sorry, I misspoke. 6-0, but from a unit standpoint, picked up 7 units. So this is where we're going. Under 21.5 in the Miami game. Or under 21.5 first half. We're taking Miami plus 10.5. We're just going to say you're going to lay $1.25 for that. And then the 3-team 10-point teaser. I'm going to take right now as it stands, Miami plus 19.5, the under 52.5, and Alabama plus 16.5. Then I'm going to do another one. Miami plus 19.5 with Ole Miss plus 16.5, And I'm also going to throw in there the Texas Tech Red Raiders plus 13 in that one. So those are the ways we're going to play it. I like the first half under. I like Miami. I love teasing the total up under 52.5. Under 52.5, listen, 27-24 still get you an under. I think teasing the 10-point teaser, teasing that to get under 52.5 is gold. I think Miami plus 19.5 or plus 20 is gold. And I think even getting Alabama and Ole Miss in the ring there, plus 6.5, plus 16.5 either way, I think that's gold. Click that like, hit subscribe. Happy college football playoff betting. Whether you fade or follow, hope you win your bet. God bless and happy handicapping.